everyone, welcome to Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler. It's Sunday night, it's your girl Faye. We are back after having a week off because I was busy being an anime. Um, and then I actually will probably take next week off because I'll be busy being a LG plus activist at a summit. I wear many hats. Some of them are crowns, the Bowsette crown in particular. But enough of that. We have the show for you to enjoy tonight. I'm going to start off with some good news, then I'm going to be moving into some other news that maybe can't be quantified as good. I have two story features for you tonight. One will be a focus on our Out of the Darkness walk, a recap of the event that happened a week or two ago. And then I will be showing you a video from our Red River Rainbow seniors talking about their new LGBTQ plus youth grant that they have going on. So that's what I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoy the show. In my first story of the night, I want to talk about a man who is running 100 miles to get support for Shoes for Kids. The individual is actually running in honor of Mark Knudsen, who was a Fargo Marathon planner who ended up dying last year with an accident that had happened. It's kind of in honor of his memory as well as raising money for kids to be able to get shoes that they can walk and be comfortable in. There's more to the story about how you can get involved and donate, but it's kind of a really cool legacy story of someone kind of continuing to live the dream of an individual who is so impactful for the Fargo-Moorhead community. So that's something that's cool that's happening from that. In other good news, we have the award recipients of Community Rocks, which is a nonprofit charity fundraiser that often uses music to help raise money for local causes. There's a picture of this up here, but if you want to follow them for their upcoming concert and venues where they're going to be continuing to do this to support local communities, I recommend following them. They do a lot of good work and giving just a little bit to a lot of different places to be successful in their missions. So check them out. They rock. Good selfie. I'm so good at this. People think I'm good at this. Like and subscribe if you think I'm good. In other good news, we have the North Dakota colleges are not dead. Our enrollment actually didn't go down even though we don't have free college compared to Minnesota. However, there is more complexity to the story. It sounds like we might have more virtual attendees for college doing online school than in-house. But it's still good that we're not just losing tens of thousands of students. It will be good if we continue to have adequate financial support for our kids and make school something that is a compelling option for them going forward. But at least for now, we are still getting young people to North Dakota, which is the only thing keeping our state alive in some ways. So this is fantastic news. Thank a local college today, especially a college admissions person. They are doing the real work out there. To advertise again, the Quality Health Associates of North Dakota puts on free mental health first aid training. This is a 6-hour training module that trains individuals, anyone, any layperson, you don't have to have like a medical background, into how to help someone who is suffering through a mental health crisis. It's called mental health first aid because it's a parallel to physical first aid. And the idea is that you don't need to be a doctor to go to a first aid kit and maybe help bandage a wound. You also don't need to be a therapist to be there for a friend and offer them basic support and keep them okay until they get it. I have taken it. It's a phenomenal training and it's good access for anyone to be able to help people in their life. The more that we are all equipped with mental health first aid, the better off all of us will be doing. I want to give a opportunity here for individuals who might be interested. It looks like the Trevor Project is using a DB casting to get individuals for an upcoming podcast story that they're looking to do. I share these opportunities on Vetted. I get so many of them that come in saying, hey, can we get the stories of your queer youth in North Dakota? And I'm like, I don't know if I can trust you or anyone about that. However, I don't want to just remove those opportunities from people who it might be a benefit to. So I often share them saying that, please vet this, please make sure it's safe for you. But I get them so frequently that I don't have the time to check them out myself. It seems like it's okay. It seems like it's a Trevor Project. But again, if this is of interest to you, they are looking for our LGBT plus youth ages 13 to 24, specifically, or in some cases with a affirming adult to talk about their experiences or stories across the state. If you know of a youth or family who'd be interested in doing that, please reach out and give them the contact information. But again, please really strongly vet these things before you participate. I just share them kind of carte blanche with that warning, just to make sure people have the opportunity. Otherwise, I would never share any of them. So that's my compromise right now. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to speak with High Plains Fair Housing, where I talked to Bree, and we talked about housing equity and its impact on both our LGBTQ plus community and suicide prevention because everything is connected. It was a really good talk, I think, and it's something that you can watch on their Facebook video right now if you'd like to get an understanding of how housing equity in particular can impact our LGBT plus populations. It can be very difficult for trans individuals, especially with conflicting identity documents, especially if they have landlords who have spicy opinions about queer people. Everyone has rights to fair and equitable housing, though, so if you ever feel like you are being discriminated against, High Plains Fair Housing is the place to talk to. They are the goat of all of this, so go and check them out. For older viewers, goat is greatest of all time. A recent story was published chronicling a young trans woman's 450-mile journey to getting healthcare. Healthcare for trans individuals is medically necessary. It is required for any kind of good quality of life, which forces trans individuals in states that ban it to travel a very long way for it. While it is not the same as, let's say, diabetes or type 1 diabetes, for these individuals, it is very much the same level of risk. And when I say this, keep in mind that the people who advocate for gender affirming care are pediatricians, specifically endocrinology pediatricians. They're the ones who do diabetic medication. They're the ones that help individuals with type 1 diabetes, and they're the ones that advocate so strongly for gender affirming care because they see their patients. Like outside of the studies that we can look at, or the 30 years of studies on that, or even longer for adults, they see hundreds of people day in and day out and the impact it has on them, either getting care or not getting it. They're the ones who see these lives improve or not, depending on it, and they're the ones advocating for it. So I just want you to know that for trans individuals, it's a non-option. Like they have to get care, and sometimes that means literally getting a plane ticket. I've even heard stories of people coming from England just to get medication here because they couldn't in England. Like that is how critical this care is. It's not an optional thing for people, or rather, it's choose to suffer or not. I think the story highlights that and highlights just how essential it is and how critical and how devastating it is when individuals have to travel that far for care or just don't get it and have to suffer. This is especially important with a legislative session coming up and seeing where we may move on that in the future. In other not great news, Churches United, which had a call for funding last month, did meet their call, but they are still struggling with funding and still need more money to effectively stay open. The story that is here by Melissa, who does incredible reporting all around, shows that they've cut off 10 full-time staff members, I believe, and they're down to 25, and talk about how there's been so many issues with lack of funding, lack of grants, the pandemic creating influx of money, and once that left, nothing came back and people weren't donating. It's difficult for any nonprofit right now, and while the story is potentially help donate and support Churches United, it's also advocating for your elected leaders to fund this stuff so it doesn't risk a chopping block if people stop donating. These are essential services, they're critical, and if people don't get them, it hurts our entire community. It destabilizes all of us when we are not taking care of all of us. So this is something to be aware of because Churches United is not alone in the struggles they're having. A lot of nonprofits are, and it's worth looking around. We all need a safety net at some point, and if we don't have it, prevention is way cheaper and cost effective compared to intervention. The more that we have organizations that can help us before we get to, critical points in our life, the more stable we all are, the more stable our economy is, and the better we all do in it. So pay attention to these stories and talk to your elected leaders about them. Speaking of talking to our elected leaders, well, Bismarck is now currently trying to ban homeless camps, similar to what Fargo did, but with a lot less of the legwork. My understanding of the story, which is very limited, but talking to some primary sources on it, is that in Fargo, it was a collaborative effort with individuals experiencing homelessness to make sure there was no major disruptions, while also trying to create some balance of policy. What it sounds like is in Bismarck, they are just top downing that policy and they don't really have much intervention work for those experiencing homelessness, which means that once they enact the policy, it will be devastating and confusing to the people that it will impact, people experiencing homelessness. These are dangerous situations for not just our homeless people who are experiencing homelessness, but even our first responders or our police officers, just because when you introduce this situation where individuals might be raiding camps, that can create danger for everyone. It's in its infancy right now. Where it might end up going is still to be determined, but that is where I understand the story to be right now as a secondary source on it. By this point, if you care about voting and you care about property taxes and you've been listening to our measure on that, it's bad. We need property taxes. It's like they fund essential services and we can't make up that money otherwise. Do you like roads and schools and hospitals? Like, I mean, it is very silly to get rid of property taxes, especially with all the struggles we have across our state. It will only make everything worse. So there's an infinite amount of commentary from everyone who has any expertise on this. You can check it out, the newest iteration of commentary on it, but it's just a bad thing. Like, it is just a bad thing if you listen to anyone. You can listen to me about it, but I don't even have to say anything. 100 other people are, and they have degrees in property taxes, and they live it, and they even pay property taxes on their degrees about property taxes. That's how much they love it. I don't know if that's true, but like, just I don't know, it's silly. If this passes, it would be silly and just hurt everyone, so hopefully it doesn't. And the worst news is that our lawmakers in North Dakota have requested twice as many bills for the 2025 session, meaning that they have kind of put them to, I don't know the exact terminology, but they put them to the folks that will say, here's your feelings and vibes put into a law, is kind of how that works, because our lawmakers are elected officials. They're not lawyers. Like, they don't necessarily know how to craft constitutional legislation or stuff like that. So they put it up to people whose job that is in our government. So where we are is they have a lot of vibes are out there trying to get some laws. That's what we know about that. We will know more in 3 months. In 3 months, we'll know what happens with that. But a lot of bills are happening. And that moves into the last opening news segment for me, and that is vote. You can vote. You can do it, probably. Most of you watching probably can. And you should follow the League of Women Voters 411 Vote Guide if you need to know who to vote for. I'm nonpartisan. I'm actually anti-partisan. I think we should all work together, but you should know who you are voting for. And if you should vote for the person that represents you, that could be any party, that could be any faith, any background, or none. Doesn't matter. Vote for who makes sense to you is always going to be my position. Love democracy. But some key items to keep in mind, dates, is that September 26th, the absentee and vote by mail begins. So you can vote by mail right now. You can just request that, do your research in your own home, figure out who to vote for, put in a letter, send it out. You've done democracy. The other one coming up is November 4th. That is the deadline to get voting in by mail. I think if it's post-stamped by that date or earlier, it's accepted. And then November 5th is our general election, and that's when you vote. I don't see any reason to forget November 5th. I don't see any reason to. There is zero reason to forget November 5th. You can vote that day, and you should. Our democracy only works when we participate in it. And the reason that our world has gotten, or nation has gotten so wacky, is because a lot of people have given up in the government as an institute that can help them. And that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The less that we are critical of and participate in our government, the worse it's going to be, and the more representatives there are going to be there not because they're interested in us or the public or the general good, but because of some other reasons. The more that we participate, the better off everyone is in general. That doesn't mean particular people have to be in office or particular parties. The more invested a politician is in our community by us demanding that they represent us, the better off everyone is. The more reasonable we see the entire situation play out. I have a lot of links about that. I also remind folks that I'm not partisan in any way, but I get that people shy away from politics in general, and I have to discourage that strongly, because if the government impacts you in any way, you should care about politics. And There's not a person I know who the government doesn't impact. Even in nonprofit sectors, there's funding that goes into that. In private sectors, there's different laws and regulations that go into how you can employ people or be employed. We all are impacted by a government, and if we are not invested in it, we are only going to reap the consequences of not voting and not participating. I do get people who don't vote for political reasons. Their vote is not voting, and that's completely valid. But apathy voting is something that we should invest in systems and we should feel better about it. And that's to say, like, you just don't participate because you don't really care, you don't really know how to. Don't think of voting as like winning. Don't think of it as like, I don't know, you're not changing the world with your one vote, but you are investing in yourself and in your society in a meaningful way. And you can feel better about that in the world because of it. So that's my pitch to get out and vote. Hope you do. Hope we have a good vote, good season, and then we have good people in office, and then the world's way better. Now we're going to get into a fun story about American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's Out of the Darkness Walk. I want to say less heavy, but I don't know. It's kind of a mix, right? And then a really good story about a grant. Thanks for joining me tonight. I don't know what's going to happen next Sunday. I probably won't have a show. I might have something special. I have a little thing cooking, but we'll see what happens with it. Yeah, thanks.
Hi, my name is Marge Nelson, and I'm a member of the Red River Rainbow Seniors. 2 years ago, our group decided that we wanted to give back to the community, and we began offering grants to businesses or schools up to $250. This will be our third year of giving out the grants. Faye Seidler has been instrumental in helping us get the information out with her extensive networking capabilities. Schools throughout the Red River Valley will be aware of our grants due to Faye Seidler, and we thank her very much for that. We have been meeting with NDSU's GSA for the last 3 years. And 2 years ago, we got a letter thanking us, a handwritten letter, by the way, from one of the students thanking us for meeting with them, and they said we were good role models. And talk about it was quite a wonderful card, and our whole group, we read it at our business meeting, and the whole group loved it. So as role models, we decided to meet with all the groups who got our grants last year. And it was an awesome experience. And of course, we will meet with the groups who receive our grants this year as well. Thank you very much.
In my first Out of the Darkness walk, I was blown away by just how beautiful the event was and how many people came together to honor those that we have lost to suicide, to give care to each other, to provide a space of healing and hope for everyone still here. Behind me in this picture is the wall of folks who had been lost to suicide. And I think in this conversation, it's so often this darkness, Out of the Darkness walk, is to basically try to remove the stigma we have about talking about suicide. I think that folks don't always know how common feelings of suicide ideation are, the feelings of self-harm. I think a lot of people will struggle with that at some point in their life. And I think way more people than we understand have been impacted by suicide loss. There is a saying in the suicide prevention community that is, all suicide is preventable. And I don't think that's accurate. I think it's much better to frame it as all suicide can be prevented. But we don't have access to perfect knowledge. We don't have access to infinite resources. And we don't know when someone's having a bad day if that's going to be the bad day they really needed help, or if that was just another bad day that they had. If we had full information, we would always try to help. We would always intercede. We would much rather hear someone's stories than attend their funerals, how we often say that. But we don't. We don't have that information. The best we can do is be kind to those in our lives, to try to help them as much as we're capable of, and to be kind to ourselves. Events like this bring us all together to remind us that there are so many people connected to this kind of loss, connected to this kind of hope, that we can reduce these numbers and give people a belief in a better future. I wanted this event to be something that existed more than just the day it happened, because I attended last year and it was beautiful and phenomenal, but if you weren't there, you wouldn't know. So I wanted to capture the life of this event so people could see it, because people do care. More people than you would ever expect do care. And yeah, we get busy with things. We don't stay in touch as much as we would want to, but if we actually knew a person didn't want to be here tomorrow and was really serious with acting on that, we would probably drop a lot of what we're doing to help. And that's kind of what this whole thing is that we want people to reach out and ask for help. There's not always necessarily help that we can give them or the right kind of help, but we want to try. And we want to build better infrastructure so we can get help to as many people as possible. We have great strides. We've done so much work in the last decade. 988 is our suicide prevention hotline or lifeline, crisis and lifeline. Anyone can call, 3-digit number, answered by First Link. It is phenomenal. There's mental health first aid I talked about in this episode of Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler, that you can get better help with this. Every day we try to build hope, and we do the best we can. We never choose to do a worse job. We don't choose to inflict despair into someone. We really do choose to try our best. We don't always have access, though, to like everything we need, but we try. And it matters and it saves lives. As much as we talk about suicide contagion, which is how it can ripple across communities, there is a joy contagion too. That ripples across communities when we find joy, when we heal, when we create hope, and we move forward, carrying the memories of those we lost with us. So without further ado, I want you to show you just a little segment of what this event can be, and I hope it's something that is inspiring and healing for whoever watches it. So thank you. I am about to play a song titled Cherish the Chance, produced by James Bergman, and this is a song dedicated to a youth who we lost to suicide in North Dakota, largely because of bullying being a contributing factor. That's the tone of the song. Suicide is multifactorial and complex, so just understand that there could be different ways you come to suicidality, which this song doesn't touch on, but just be aware of that as we go through this.
The odds aren't all in your favor, and when they're against you, you feel so alone. And then when you think, I just have to be braver, it's hard when you're all on your own. Odds are what's different about you has made you unique, but when you look around, odds are you don't feel proud but afraid. It's the nail that sticks out that gets beaten down. All of the tears that the world has welled up inside you because of each word, they fall all too silently until it's too late for us to undo what you've heard. We've killed our chances too many times. Innocent victims have paid for our crimes. Imagine a world where instead we would show our love in advance. We'd save all those lives, and we'd cherish the chance. Some say it's too late. This isn't untrue. Things have been done that we cannot undo. The love love of so many could outweigh the hate of so few. We'd have more than only the ghost of a chance if only we knew. We killed our chances too many times. Innocent victims have paid for our crimes. Imagine a world where instead we would show our love in advance. We'd save all those lives and we'd cherish the chance. We'd save all those lives and we'd cherish the chance.
Invite that person you've been meaning to text for a while to come out here and be a part of the events today. The program is going to start at 2 o'clock, so you've got plenty of time to wander around, meet new people, and of course find out those great resources that are available. But enough from me. Let's get back to these great guys. Tuckered out, ladies and gentlemen. Tuckered out.
Thanks so much. I think it's the 9th year we've done this now, and it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to support this great cause. And we hope everybody's talking to everybody. Talking matters a lot. Let people know what you think and what you're feeling.
Well, thank you everyone for watching my show. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a good rest of your week. I hope we see you back here next week. Just want to give some thank yous to all the folks here who contributed to the show, who made it all a great time and informed us about the cool stuff they're doing. He will be my outro probably for a while until I choose to change it. You all have a good day. Bye.